Double world champion, lauded as one of the most talented drivers of all time. A moment that I think probably changed the way that you saw the world. Your crash in the Australian Grand Prix.
The head moved so hard that way I cracked my skull. When the car hit that curb, it launched the car in the air. Everything stops.
We can't talk about your success without talking about Michael Schumacher.
We had our moments. Michael was very hard racing driver. When he has a chance to win, he won't give up. McLaren 93, they gave me the opportunity to be a teammate for Ayrton, but he didn't speak to me for a couple of weeks.
We are launching YouTube memberships and it's live right now. Be the first to access episodes before anyone else. Get behind the scenes footage, get emojis, get badges. Be a real part of the high performance community.
Hit join below or head to our channel homepage to find it and go pro with high performance.
Well, Mika, welcome to High Performance.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I want to start by rewinding the clock 30 years, if I may, to Adelaide 1995.
Going to that Grand Prix in Adelaide in 95, it is such a strong motion, such a strong memory that way. For me, it's quite easy to go back to that time. All the preparation to go in that Grand Prix, knowing that way it is a last Grand Prix of the season, and that particular year, we had quite a lot of problems with the car. We didn't really get the result what we wanted to have. So what the driver normally feels like, he feels quite happy that way you are finishing the season, going to last Grand Prix, knowing that way the team is already preparing the car in a design for the next year. So you go there with the full professional attitude. You go there to kick some butt and maximizing your performance. And when I went that year to Adelaide, team, of course, McLaren was fantastic, everything organized, and doing all the practicing and heading to qualification, of course. Like I said, you're professional, so you're focusing, maximizing the performance of the car, maximizing your personal performance to get the best possible result. Even that way you're not going to get the pole position. And that's really frustrating to go in a qualification. You try to be in top 10. If you can get higher, it's a lucky shot. So I had a bad Saturday. I had a bad Saturday. That day when my rear tire lost the air, inflated, so lost the air, and it just happened in a very very special part of the track, because it was super fast right hand corner, and you had to get that corner perfectly, because after that is a long straight. So if you get that corner perfectly, you will get the good speed in the exit. So then you're going to reach the very high top speed in your car, and it helps you to get the better lap time. So of course, maximum concentration coming to that corner. And just when I turn in, the rear tire lost the air. And Formula One, the ride height is very low. It's maybe 15 to 20 millimeters. So when the tire loses the air, cars start touching the ground. And what happens then you lose the control of the steering. So when I turned in, I lost the back end of the car, and the car starts sliding. So young guy, okay, little problem here. But in the exit of the corner, there was a huge curb. And when the car hit that curb, it launched the car in the air. So that means the car is not slowing down, it's flying in the air, and the car starts spinning. So when the car starts spinning like that, you don't know exactly when you're going to hit the barrier. You know you're going to hit the barrier, but you don't know when. And the car just turned the front towards the barrier just that fraction second. So I didn't have time to really do my muscles maximum and hold my neck hard as possible, because that time we did not have a Hans system supporting your head. So because of that bang, the head moved so hard that way I cracked my skull, and the the moment when everything stopped, I was still awake, but only thing what I realized, I was not able to move the hands. I was not able to move the legs, and I recognized that this is that I'm in a shit. I'm in a big trouble. So I just told myself, just calm down, Mika. Just wait when they come to help you. And then, fortunately, luckily, in that particular corner, all the emergency team was located, so they came immediately to help me. Of course, I couldn't breathe, so they had to make a tiny hole in it.
Why couldn't you breathe?
Well, I couldn't breathe because all the blood start, because you crack your skull, so the blood is coming, and you cannot breathe. Again, you cannot move, all your organs stop working. So they had to put like a thing, I don't know in English, when they...
Tracheostomy.
Yeah, so that way they give you artificially air in your lungs and in your brain. So that's it. Then they put me to hospital, of course. Well, hospital is just 5 minutes from that particular corner. Again, lucky. So then I was, I don't know, it was 1 or 2 days in a coma. They kept me there because your brain keeps swallowing, and it was a really tough moment. Then when you wake up and you see all the pipes, lines in your body, and of course you don't feel pain because they give you so much all kind of medication.
Yeah.
And of course, that when the doctors are coming to tell you what situation you are in, it makes you to realize, like, wow, lucky I can move my legs and hands, and then the journey of then the whole horrible journey starts, because when you get the bang in your head and damage in your head, all your sensors with controlling your body is located in your brain, basically. So it's a huge procedure when they start testing all your reactions, your nerves, because the other side of my face was paralyzed because of that. So it was just a week after weeks testing that way all the things are working normally like they should. So it was a horrible journey. Australian doctors were fantastic. Doctors, the nurses, the hospital care, how they were look after me was incredible. Even it was painful. I was very fortunate that McLaren team was protecting me extremely well.
Yeah.
My management team, Keke Rosberg, his management team was taking really care of me extremely well. Of course, my family came there. They were, of course, supporting me. So it was incredible, because you're just so hopeless, lying in bed and in a pain, constant pain.
So, do you remember the whole crash, or were you knocked out at some point?
I remember the moment when I hit the wall, and I remember when I was not able to move. And that moment when I was not able to move, I said, "Just Mika, now, just relax. Just don't try to do anything." I realized that way something serious has happened.
And do you remember the doctors coming over and performing the?
Yeah, I remember that. Then that time I passed out.
And did they not knock you out before they did the operation on your throat?
No.
Wow.
I just felt the massive pain, and then good night. Good night. Yeah. So, but it's when I did start motor racing, and I knew the risks. You know the risks that way. Accidents will happen. Before that year, I had many accidents. If there were technical problems and you losing the control of the car, and you can see metal barrier coming towards you, and you're going straight through that metal barrier, and that way this gonna hurt. You are like thinking, I'm gonna die. Well, you don't think you're gonna die, but you know that this gonna hurt.
You know how much I love Formula One, and we know that you love the Formula One conversations here on High Performance. But the truth is that high performance in F1 isn't just what happens on the track. It's also about consistency. It's about identity. And you know what? Style works the same way. Because the clothes that you wear, they become part of your story. They're the reason that you stand out. And that is why we're so excited to partner with Vestiaire Collective for the launch of their first ever menswear experience. You can now find a curated selection of standout menswear. That's Cartier watches, Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci sneakers, Burberry jackets, all available at up to 80% off retail. And it also goes the other way. If you think it's time to change up your wardrobe, you can sell your own pre-loved treasures with low fees while giving them a new lease of life. And with more than 15 years of authentication expertise, Vestiaire Collective makes buying and selling simple, stylish, and secure. Honestly, I think it's fantastic. Vestiaire Collective, the go-to destination for pre-loved premium menswear styles. To get involved, just click the link in the description to buy or sell men's pre-loved fashion. On High Performance, we talk a lot about ownership, about taking charge of the areas of your life that others leave to chance. Because when you step up and lead, you create the outcomes you want. And that's what Hive is here for, to put you in control of your energy. With solar, you can get the sun to work for you by turning sunlight from your roof into greener energy. And the control doesn't stop there. With the Hive app, you can track, manage, and optimize your energy all in one place. Clear, simple, built around you. And this, I think, is the real game changer. When you produce more energy than you need, you can sell it back to the grid, meaning the energy companies are paying you. At High Performance, look, we believe the future belongs to those who take action, and Hive puts that power directly in your hands, in your home. It's your energy, your rules. Hive, know your power. Visit hivehome.com to find out more. Output and savings varies by season, electricity usage, and system size. Paid for surplus requires an eligible SEG tariff.
Did that crash change the way you saw life or the way you saw the world, do you think?
Well, 100% yes, of course. It's because the whole world stops for you. You know, everything stops. Nothing is important except your health, and all your dreams, all your important. What you think that things were important, not anymore important. It's all about your health, your well-being. Was what mattered. One sense, it makes you to listen more carefully what people are saying, you know. And you are young Formula One driver, you know, your ego and everything, and you think you know a lot, you know, in your young age and your experience already. What I got at that time, but that moment teach me to listen more carefully what people say. Take a little bit more time to things what I do to be a little bit more precise, you know. And one sense it makes you stronger. That you just cannot give up, you know. You cannot give up, you know. I think it made me stronger in a way that when I decided to come back to racing, and I felt good driving a Formula One car again after my accident, some reason it made me stronger. I think I went over that fear, you know, because when I was in Monaco, when I was after all these hospitals in Australia, hospitals in England, and being in Monaco, sitting in the terrace and looking beautiful Monaco, I was thinking like, there's no way I can just stay, stay home and not continue racing. And
I mean,
sitting in the sofa and start watching.
Did you think about stopping? Because obviously, the year before your crash, you'd lost Senna and Ratzenberger in a crash. Now you'd had this big accident. Did you consider quitting? I
don't think I allowed myself too much to think about, because the motor racing even didn't come to my mind. But of course, when I was after nearly a couple of months start getting better, you start living normal life.
Yeah.
The doctors, of course, told me that, Mika, you're not allowed to go jogging yet. You're not allowed to lift heavy weights, so you have to really start easy. So naturally you don't allow yourself as soon as when I did the test with Formula One car, I felt like this is my life. This is what I love. This is what I can do well. And I felt really strong about that. So and that feeling was really important, great. It's no way I could sit in a sofa and say, I don't want to race anymore. And I want to sit in a sofa and just watch the EastEnders rest of my life,
That was no life for you. You had to get back out there.
I had to get back to action, yeah.
And what was it like the first time you raced a car again in a Grand Prix?
Well, because the Australian Grand Prix was the last Grand Prix, so it was it 3.5 March, April. I think it was nearly about 4 months after my accident, 3 or 4 months after my accident, back in a race again, and that was the time when the whole program started again, and it was quite stressful, going to the paddock, because people knew what has happened to me, of course, and many of the people remember me. How did I look in last Grand Prix in Adelaide? So suddenly when I come into paddock for the first Grand Prix in '96, I was lost a lot of weight. They cut my hair, so my beautiful floppy hair, it was a little bit different style. So it was uncomfortable for me because automatically you think like what people think about me.
Yeah.
You look a little bit different. You lost a lot of weight, and people wonder, can this guy, can he do it? Can he race anymore? So,
I think one of the really interesting parts of your story is that even when you were a junior racing driver, things didn't come easy. You didn't just win the championships immediately, win the races immediately. There were setbacks, there were accidents, there were disappointments, and I wonder actually whether that your upbringing as a young racing driver was actually quite important in that moment, that you hadn't had an accident as severe, but you had experienced setbacks in your career already.
Many. Of course, many. Even the very first time when I went out on, I think I was 6 years old, when I sat in a go-kart, in Finland, and my father started this little go-kart. And I was exciting little kid, and going out of the from the pits, going the very first turn, and there was a this huge curb, and of course when I turned in with this go-kart, I hit this curb so hard that the whole go-kart flipped upside down, and I'm lying under this go-kart, 6 years old little boy, and I can see upside down when my mother and father running flat out, probably thinking that, our little boy is dead now. So then I'm climbing out under the go-kart and standing up. And my father said to me, he said, look, Mika, when you go, he said, show me, you see that curb over there? I said, yeah, I can see, So when you go around this curb, leave the little cap. Don't touch it. Just leave the little cap, So I learned immediately my lesson, and it was very interesting because it's one of those incredible memories in my life. Because again, it was a shock for me. Yeah. It was a shock to see the parents' reaction. So I said, I have done something really not correct now. So when my father explained this little tiny detail, I remember even when you come straight line, come absolutely flat off the go-kart. You're looking at that simple little curb inside. I said, I'm going to leave a little gap on that curb. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to leave it cap like this. I'm not going to touch it. Just keep very close. So it has stuck in the memory, and all these incidents and accidents has meaning to your career. Some of them are your personal mistakes. Some of them are technical failures. So somehow they make you, they make you maybe a little bit stronger. They make you wiser. But same time, again, the story is that we are young. You are a young guy.
Yeah.
You have so huge confidence and you are not scared, until the big accident happens. And then it makes you to think, that what is this life all about? Hey, is this worth it?
I think one of the really interesting parts of your story is the fact that it took you 7 years to win in Formula One. And on my way here, I did a bit of relaxed audience research. I said to people, friends of mine, and when I was traveling, I said, name me the top 10 Formula One drivers of all time. These are people that know the sport. And everyone, bar one person, had you in the top 10, right?
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Double world champion, lauded as one of the most talented drivers of all time. So I don't know why it took you 7 years to win your first race. What was going on there?
Yeah, I don't know either. It was definitely far too long. Okay, it has logical reasons.
Yeah,
of course. Again, young driver, 91, joined into Formula One directly from the category from F3 to Formula One. Going to Formula One thinking like, this is it. I gonna go for it. I gonna win a world championship. That's why I'm going there. And then you start realizing that Formula One, it's you need a great talent, you need a great experience, you need a great car, you need a great team, you need all the aspects has to be absolutely perfect to able to win races or get in pole positions or winning world championship. So when I joined the team Lotus for racing for 91, we had a team which financially wasn't very strong. The budget was not great, and the car in that what we were using that year, 91, was still the old chassis from the year 1990, and with that particular chassis, who was racing with the team Lotus was Martin Donnelly, and he had a huge accident in Jerez when he hit the wall, and the whole chassis went in two pieces. He flew out of the car. Luckily survived, luckily survived. So we were using the same chassis in 91. So what the team Lotus has to do, they had to strengthen this chassis a lot, put more carbon fiber in certain different areas to make the chassis stronger, so it doesn't break if there is a similar type of accident. But what happened was that the weight of the car increases. So I think in 91 our car was maybe exaggerating now a little bit, maybe 50 kilos overweight.
Wow.
So let's say 10 kilos of the extra weight in Formula One car can be maybe 0.2 of the second. So if you have 50 kilos extra, that way you have no chance to compete against the teams who has the weight of the car absolutely on the edge. At that time, I think the cars were like 600 kilos, so very light. So again, 91, huge challenge just to understand the Formula One in generally, young guy traveling globally around the world, and to be in a big circus of Formula One, of course, all the media work, working with a lot of different people, and same time recognizing that this car is not good enough. I am good. I know I'm a talented, great driver, but this car is not good enough. And more I start researching inside in the team what's going on, I recognize this is going to be a tough year. So it was a tough year. So no results, no victories. I think we scored a couple of points that year, but not even close or chance to win any races. And continue in 92 with Team Lotus. High hopes because we got the new designer, Murphy, who designed Lotus 107. It was quite a spectacular, great-looking car, but we didn't get the start of the season. I think we got it halfway through the season. And that car gave us opportunity to start scoring points regularly. So that's what happened. We start going really quite competitive, finishing 4th, 5th, 6th, and that time only 6 cars got the points in a Grand Prix. So it was a great result for the team, but no victories. So then, because I was doing a pretty good job, end of the 92, the big team started sending, not emails, faxes that time. So the papers start coming out of the machine like this team would like me to race for them.
And how many teams were after you then?
I think 5 teams.
Where could you have gone? McLaren obviously was one of them.
McLaren, I think there was very good teams. Very good, fantastic teams and financially extremely great opportunities. And I was in Austria with my manager, Keke Rosberg. And we were looking at this, and what a challenge. It was a beautiful situation. The teams want you to race for them, including McLaren. And the Keke was asking me that way, Mika, where you want to go? And again, young, not so experienced driver, it was not so easy to say like, looking those dollars or whatever, so I was thinking more that way. This, if I want to win, I have to look back to history. And when I look at the history of the McLaren, looking at all these drivers, Alain Prost, Ayrton, Senna, Emerson, James Hunt, all these great drivers, including Gerhard Berger, who's raced with McLaren. As this, history is so great with this team. This must be the right choice, even if it wasn't financially the best. So then, here we go, McLaren 93, and they decided to become a test driver. I was supposed to go racing first when we signed the contract, but there was a clause in the contract that because McLaren had a huge conversations with the Ayrton Senna if he going to continue with McLaren in 93. And if he decides to continue with McLaren, I become a test driver. Right. And I was pretty sure Ayrton is not going to continue, but he did. So here we are, test driver, except the last 3 Grand Prix, because at that time the Ron Dennis, who was running a show that time, McLaren, and he said that Mika, one of the owners of the McLaren, he said to me, Mika, don't worry, you're gonna race end of the year. Don't worry. I said, okay, I trust you. So I was testing a lot that year, of course, developing a car, and then Michael Andretti, who was racing McLaren with Ayrton Senna, was crashing a lot. So the relationship just didn't work. So Michael Andretti didn't race for three last Grand Prix. So it gave me the opportunity to be a teammate for Ayrton for last 3 Grand Prix. So again, first race what I did with McLaren, I crashed. So of course, no chance for victory when I crashed. But I out-qualified Senna in a qualification. That was a great thing.
Did you?
I did.
You out-qualified Senna in your first race?
In my first Grand Prix, yeah. So that was incredible.
How did he take that?
Not very well. The time difference of Ayrton Senna in a qualification was only maybe half a tenth of the second. So absolutely hardly anything. And I knew the difference is coming in a very first turn in Estoril track in Portugal.
Yeah.
It's a very fast, it's an extremely fast right-hand corner where you enter the corner and you touch the brake pedal just tiny bit, come down the gear and just foot down again, you know. Super fast. But I was using left foot braking and Ayrton was using right foot braking. So when he has to come off the throttle and go on the brake pedal and go back on the throttle, that's where he lost that half a tenth. So he came to ask me, of course, after the qualifications, Mika, how did you do it? And of course I didn't tell him.
What did you say?
Of course I didn't tell him. But I said something very naughty for him. Little bit joking there, the Finnish sense of humor. He didn't take it so well.
What did you say?
No, I don't want to say it because it's so naughty. It's
Come on.
No, I said
We're all grown-ups.
I said the balls.
Oh, did you? You said I had the balls. Oh my
So
God.
he didn't take it so well.
I bet he wouldn't. He wouldn't like that. So.
No, he got really upset. I said, he said, how many pole positions you had and how many world championships and how many race victories? I said, I was nothing, but look, it was just a joke, But he got upset. He didn't speak to me for a couple of weeks, and he was really pissed off.
That is funny. But that's a sign of just how ultra competitive he was. I mean, he would hate a kid in his eyes coming into a team.
Absolutely.
And out-qualifying him.
Absolutely. And then after that, then we start communicating, of course, again. And he put his act together. He really put his professionalism, maximum experience together. And then last 2 Grand Prix, what I did with him, he just went flat out. I didn't have no chance. I was close to him in time, but his experience was so powerful that way I did have no chance. And that opened my eyes big way. That way I have so much things to learn.
What did you see him do then in those last couple of races where you saw something and thought, okay, that's amazing?
Well, I mean, the focus, you could see his body language, his time, what he was spending with his engineer, working on every details, spine, everything maximum what I was doing. So he put it everything on a maximum when he was driving outside of the car in every aspect and the details. And I don't think they told me everything what they were doing. Even we had a data where it was telling a lot, but the data was that time not that powerful what it is, example today. So then, here we are, 7 years, no victory, and this time goes very quick.
Yeah.
But 7th year, naturally, I was very fit young man, and again we are talking about midway through the season, 97. I was in my, I think it was 97. Yeah, I was in my hotel room, and I called my friend. I said, "Do you know a good doctor?" And my friend said, "Actually, I do know a very good doctor." And he introduced me to a trauma surgeon doctor called Aki Hintsa. And I did explain to him that way. I have a problem. I'm not winning. I've been 7 years now in Formula One, and I'm not winning. And all those 7 years, every time in the morning when I go to the bathroom, I look in the mirror. I said, "Mika, you're fantastic." But after 7th year, you start losing confidence.
Yeah.
You start losing confidence. Hold on, I said, something is wrong here. You think you're doing all the exercise correctly. You are eating your morning porridge, and you are testing a lot. You are working well with the team, but I'm not winning. This starts getting really, really tough and really hard to continue in believing yourself. So I explained to Dr. Aki Hintsa that way, look, I'm not winning. And of course, clever man, Aki Hintsa, started wondering, said, what's wrong with this guy? Do you have a problem somewhere? No, I'm fine. So what's the problem then? And I could not explain. And but more we have in a conversation, more we start having a chat. He realized that way. When I do travel globally around the world all the time and doing testing and living a hectic life, sometimes I wonder and thinking that how is my mother, how is my father, how is my sister, how is my girlfriend? And it's like, okay, I understand. So you want me to start taking care of you guys? I said, absolutely. This could be a great thing. And he asked me, he said, how long time you want to work with me? And I said, the rest of my life. So he recognized, like, okay, this guy is serious. So he really wants to win. He thinks so he started taking care of us, every time. And his help was very interesting because he had a network with all the top doctors, professors around the world, giving him advices if I have a problem.
Right.
So he put the science a lot behind to making me to be a better racing driver. And also when I knew that my family is in good hands, I relaxed. And that year I won my first Grand Prix. So it took a long time. It took 7 years. So there's many little things, of course, which are affecting.
Can we talk a bit about the Hinster method? Because I remember when I first started in Formula One in 2009, he was still at McLaren at that time.
Yeah.
And I loved talking to Aki because until I spoke to him, I thought the way to be a race-winning Formula One driver is to be later on the brakes, more gentle with the steering wheel, faster on the throttle, and more aggressive in a corner against someone else. And I remember when I had a conversation with him, I realised actually to win a Grand Prix is none of those things because every driver on the grid is late on the brakes, early on the throttle, aggressive against their rival. Aki got into your mind, right, and changed that. What did he say that changed your mental approach to Formula One that you think helped you to win the race for the first time?
When you are a racing driver and you are in a certain level, you have many different boxes which needs to work perfectly in your operation to be able to drive without any kind of pressure, any kind of stress. So all the driving, what you do there is automatic. All the overtaking, all the braking, they're all automatic. You don't have to even think too much, to be honest, because you're so professional, you're so experienced. But there's many boxes where you cannot influence, and the areas where you cannot influence, you need the best of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And Aki was one of those areas because I had an accident in 95. I understood the importance of the health, and it's not only about you, it's also your closest people who is important for you. You want them to be good and healthy.
So his approach was making you holistically calm. So your friends are in a good place.
Absolutely.
Your family were in a good place.
Absolutely.
And once everything outside of the car is in a better place, what's inside the car becomes better.
Absolutely. It's a tiny little details. So again, when you are talking about gaining your lap time 1/10 of the second, when the track is, let's say, 4 miles or 5 kilometers long, that 1/10 of the second is extremely tiny. It's so little, but it's something little bit, in one corner comes something in your mind and you turning tiny bit too early or tiny bit too late, you lose that 1/10 of the second. So that's why all the aspects of the sports person has to be absolutely highest level. That's why Aki Hinsa was able to build this kind of, like you mentioned, a holistic program to understanding how to balance a human being in a level that way you can focus your life, you can focus your goal of your life. I was so lucky, first of all, to be in a McLaren team and working with the Ron Dennis because they gave me a lot of time to develop. They knew I was bloody quick, but they knew that I have a lot of things to learn. You know, I was very fortunate. I don't want to move too fast in other subjects, but that's why I'm looking like a Formula One these days. The rookies are, you know, when they come into Formula One, they have such an incredible pressure in their shoulders. You know, I had a chance to test a lot in real life, the Formula One, develop myself and make mistakes. And now the rookies, they have to go straight in a race weekend, and it's incredible what they have to do.
If you watch a Formula One race, and I don't know, Oscar Piastri misses pole by 1/10 of a second.
Yeah.
The only thing we talk about is the driving. No one says, well, maybe he's feeling the pressure as a young guy on the brink of a world title, and maybe that slowed him down by 1/10 of a second because maybe he suddenly had a realization of the stakes in one of the corners. Mm-hmm. No one talks like that, do they, about Formula One? We don't humanize the sport very much, even now.
Yeah, that is 100% true, is it? Formula One racing is extremely tiring. You know, it requires incredible energy from your brain, from your body, and making and you know, you have to stay healthy all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we know that way. At least once a year we get in the flu. You cannot avoid that. You know, it's a part of this life journey. You know, sometimes we just don't feel good.
So why have we ended up in a place where we now have more knowledge about the human brain than ever before? We have more knowledge about performance than ever before. But Formula One is a world where Jack Doohan can do 3 or 4 races and be thrown out of the team. Liam Lawson can do just 2 or 3 races in Red Bull and be removed and demoted back to the next team. It feels like the expectation levels for Formula One drivers are greater than ever before. And it doesn't seem to serve them or the teams very well.
This is the world. This is the life. You know, that's why it's great we are talking about the hints of performance.
Yeah.
You know, if the driver has a chance to take the highest performance team to develop you in terms of your mind, your body, is the best investment what you can do. Because when you are 20 years old, 21 years old, you have to be ready in every aspect. That way you get the right energy in the right moment. That way you can take all the pressure, you know. And I'm not saying that way. The current drivers are not there in that level. I'm just saying that the drivers are younger and younger in a much more responsible position in motor racing, and the amount of driving or testing they are able to get is absolutely minimum. So I was losing 7 years in Formula One until I figured it out. I need help. You know, of course I was training. I have many different sport coach people training me in those years, starting in basically 92. So I was there already. But it was more than that. You know, it was more than that what's happening here. You know, you can train the muscle quite strong, you know, or the six pack. But up here, what's happening? It's a very you need a very special program and an extremely science run program and a huge experience of people, the best of the best, who can help you to balance your concentration, your mind.
Yeah.
That way you can do in the highest pressure what you have, you can still stay consistent and balanced.
So what % of your success on track was physical and what % was mental?
Oh, wow, that's difficult. I mean, of course, you have to be the fitter than anybody other driver. You know, that's your goal. And mentally, you just need inner confidence. That way you really believe yourself. You are the best of this world, fastest driver in the world. You know, you need that. Otherwise, you don't survive. But what is this balance? What is the percentage? You know, I cannot even say that number, what it could be. But But in terms of your thinking process, your confidence, your capabilities to be a team player, it has a huge meaning of your overall success.
So the athletes that we've spoken to have generally said 80% mental, 20% physical.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's talk a bit about Ron Dennis, because 97, the win finally comes in Jerez. And I've got a great quote from Ron. He says here, "In our efforts not to interfere with the World Championship, we reversed the first pit stop sequence. So David stopped first, which disadvantaged Mika. So I instructed David to then reverse the order again." What was going on there? What was Ron doing in that moment?
97. A leading race in Silverstone. Engine explodes. Leading a Grand Prix in Nürburgring. Engine explodes. So I was in many positions at that year when the engine is exploding, I think David, my teammate, won already. I don't remember exactly. Maybe 2 races already. So I think the David Coulthard always thinks that Ron Dennis was favoring me.
Yeah.
Which is not correct, of course.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm just saying, because if David listening to this, I want to wind him up. And I don't know. It's crazy what happened, my opinion, because if you look now, what's happening, what McLaren, what's happening, their drivers are changing their position in a race because of team made a mistake. And then, we had agreements with David, example, that when we're starting a season, when our car is so fast, our car was like 1 second quicker than any other competitor's car. So we are sitting in the first and second on the starting grid for the race. And we had a problem that when we did the winter testing, the car was not able to do more than 20 laps, then it broke down. But the car was so quick. So we made a deal. Example, we have done the deals with Ron Dennis, with the teammate David Coulthard, that the driver who is first in the first corner is allowed to win the race. Because we could not drive flat out all the time. Because we would go full gas and start fighting against each other. For sure, the car would explode. It would not finish the Grand Prix.
So the real fight was to the first corner, and if you were leading then...
Yeah. So I was actually leading once in that first corner. So I was thinking whoa, this is going to be a nice Grand Prix. Just short shift the gear, brake a bit earlier, because David's not going to overtake me, because we had a deal. So then what happened after 15, 20 laps in Melbourne, turning to second last corner, and second last corner, there's just a pit entrance. So just when I turn in, somebody came to radio, and I thought, come to change tires. So I quickly made a quick decision, because if I missed that entry, I would have to go whole lap. So I decided to go in. But it wasn't the message of tires. It was something else. So, of course, the team is not ready. All the mechanics are looking like this, and I'm going like this. So I had to drive through the pit lane and join back to the race. But, of course, who is leading? It's my teammate, David Coulthard. But we had a deal. So the team is calling the radio to David to slow down and let me overtake.
And what did David say?
Oh, he wasn't very happy. He wasn't very happy, but we had a deal.
And would you have done the same thing for him?
Of course, yes, of course.
Would you?
No, of course I would. If there's agreement, it's a gentleman deal.
So what did you think then in Jerez when they pitted David first?
Oh, I thought you forgot.
I
thought you forgot the Jerez. I tried to talk everything else.
Come on, I want to know because this feels like you mentioned what a great boss Ron was for you. This feels like he is mentally protecting you at this point, putting you into second place to then allow you to get the win towards the end. Is that fair?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Like you read the Ron's quote there. If the team is, I don't know. It's very difficult to. Of course, because I won the race, I think it was a good decision. Huh? But I don't know. Then after all these, who is favoring who and did the Ron this and that. I think I really don't know. I don't know what to say for that.
And you and David are good friends now. You've just done a tour around the UK talking about your time together. Was there a period where the relationship was difficult because David felt that you were getting treated better than him?
I think the relation with David was difficult in day one. You know?
Why?
I had even difficulties to understand because he had such a strong Scottish accent, you know.
And you also have a rather strong...
No, it was just, it was normal. I call it normal, you know. There's me being a team, 93, 94, 95, massive accident. And the team was finally having engine deal. That way we can start developing a car every year consistently. And then I having a massive accident. So that's it. You know, I had to start building my own physical condition. And McLaren is signing young Scottish driver who used to be a 2 years test driver for Williams. So very fit, very confident young man. And I knew this going to be a challenge. This going to be really, really difficult challenge because I knew I wasn't in my peak because my condition. And I knew David is absolutely flat out. So I didn't know what to even say. I think David was, he is very, he likes to talk, which is good. He likes to build the trust with the people, to understand who the people are. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't know how to trust. And I didn't talk so much. I don't think he liked that a lot. You know, because I simply, and because it was a little psychological war. David is a great team player, you know, and I think at that time I was just a little bit arrogant, you know, because being a team quite a long time, and I know my recovery time, I was still in a recovery time, so I think the relationship didn't start in the right way. But then step by step, we start understanding each other better. We start spending more time together and chatting more. And again, you know, if we talk about now, today, we had a fantastic relation and a huge respect each other. Yeah. The success, what David has done, success, what I have done. You know, I think we created incredible teamwork inside in the McLaren team because we are different character people, and it's fantastic. So we did a little tour in England. It was a mega experience.
On High Performance, our guests often remind us that recovery is the foundation of performance and that sleep is the most powerful tool for our health and success. Yet most of us don't give our sleep enough attention. We spend a third of our lives asleep, yet many of us only think about our mattress when we move house. Imagine the difference if we treated our sleep with the same intention as our training or nutrition, because that's where true performance and health can be unlocked. Using real sleep data, Simba has designed hybrid mattresses that support your spine, reduce motion from your partner, and help you stay cool throughout the night. Simba's innovation has earned them over 100 sleep awards and 6 Which Best Buy titles across their range, including the adjustable hybrid pillow and their cooling duvets, all created to help you achieve your best night's sleep. They offer a 200-night no-quibble trial, a 10-year guarantee, and next-day delivery straight to your door. You don't realize how much better you could be sleeping until you try a Simba. Shop now at simbasleep.com/high performance. I think most fans have said at some point, one day I'm going to follow a World Cup. It is the ultimate bucket list trip, right? It's certainly on my bucket list. And if you're going to do it, Seattle is the place to make it happen in 2026. Now, one of the things that I love about Seattle, and I've traveled all around the US, is how walkable and compact the place feels. So the stadium sits right next to downtown, so you can step out of the match and straight into the city's buzz. The weather is perfect for football. Those mild summer days that the city's famous for will make all the games feel enjoyable. Nature is everywhere. There's gorgeous waterfront views, breathtaking mountain backdrops. Honestly, this is like an American city where the outdoors always feels within reach. And when it's time to refuel, Seattle also delivers fresh seafood at Pike Place Market, world-class coffee, craft beer, and a wine scene that rivals the best. You can then cap off your day with skyline views from the Space Needle or sunset over Puget Sound. This isn't just a World Cup trip. This is an experience that you would never forget. If you want to discover more, go to visitseattle.org and start planning your perfect summer of football. What kind of mind games were going on in the team between the two of you when you say it was a kind of a psychological war? What did that look like in terms of behaviours?
It's a bit everything. It's a body language. It's where you look somebody in the eyes, where you communicate about driving, the data.
So how would you look at him?
I gotta answer that kind of questions, but
I just some tangible things.
But it's just crazy, you know. We both live in Monaco, you know, and let's say in '96, we are going to factory in England, in Woking, to have a meeting after the Grand Prix. Let's say Sunday we fly back home. So we go to meeting on Monday to discuss about weekend, how we can improve and all this. So I leave in from my home with the limousine to airport. David is leaving with his limousine to airport. He takes his private plane, flies to London. I come in with my private plane, London, landing, taking limousine, and going to the office in Woking in McLaren, facing each other, sitting there in a chair, talking about the Grand Prix with the engineers. And same thing. Afternoon, we fly back, never together. So it tells already something like these guys are nuts. What the hell they doing? So competition, your ego is so high. You know, it's terrible. But that's why, you know, if you have a great management, they can really give you the right advices. That way, this is a team. Yeah. This is a teamwork. Guys, you need to work in a team. You have to work together to give the right information. Work with the team members in a team to motivate everybody, including the fans, including the media. You know, it's
very different now, though, isn't it? I see social media pictures of all the drivers on planes together, arms around each other, sharing a beer, having a drink.
No, dear.
It does happen now, though. It didn't happen then.
Yeah, it happens now. I think it's brilliant. It happens now, but I'm pretty sure, you know, it's, you know, there's a little fire hurricane inside in these drivers inside the body. Yeah. You know, they know that only one can win.
What will be going on at the moment, do you think, in your old team in McLaren between Lando, Norris, and Oscar Piastri?
It's no question about it. You know, there's less and less races left in a calendar, and both McLaren drivers, the point difference is still quite big. If you look at the incident, what happened in Singapore, puts the tension very high. Doesn't matter how you look at it. If the other car was a little bit front of the other car going in a corner, you know, you touched. Yeah. And when teammates are touching, it has always some meaning. I think the drivers normally they can avoid touching unless something weird happens.
Do you think Lando could have avoided that touch with his teammates?
I don't think so. Because he was on a curb. It's a street circuit. Oscar don't want to go too wide because there's marbles. It's very slippery, so he wants to stay on a good side of the track. So of course now going towards the end of the season, Zach Brown, Andrea, they have to really incredible. They have to work so closely with drivers that they find a beautiful harmony towards the end of the season. You know, this is racing, and one of these drivers, they can win a championship. It's a nightmare. It's an absolutely horrible situation inside the team. But, you know, I don't mean negatively. I just mean it is what it is, you know. And this is like a human test from everybody, you know, how they're able to manage the harmony that way. Okay, there has to be these agreements what the drivers and the management have to do.
Yeah.
You know, nobody don't just walk past each other like this. They always stop and they discuss how we can do it better. You know, they want to serve. They have great partners, McLaren. You know, I think more than 70 partners. You know, they've been supporting McLaren really well. They have great team members, the mechanics, engineers, marketing, designers. It's a beautiful team. You want this season to end up in a perfect way, you know, and that's why I think Lando is already quite experienced about Formula One. Oscar is getting there, so I believe that they will find ways to ending up the season in a good way.
I hope so, because I think the two interesting things at play is that, there's a few things. Neither have ever been a Formula One world champion. Neither have ever been fighting their teammate for the world title in the same team. And there's a change of regulations next season, so they will have no idea whether next year the car's going to be fast or slow.
Exactly.
So both will feel like this might be the only chance in my whole career to be a Formula One world champion. And that doesn't come around often, as you know, which just heightens the tension in that team.
Exactly. Again, coming back to my time, to history, when I was racing with David Coulthard at McLaren in 98, you know, was the year when Adrian Newey designed our car, MP413 McLaren. And I was in a factory in the winter time looking when they were building this car and designing. I was looking like, wow, what a details, what a incredible aerodynamic details, how they were designing the car. And of course it looked great, but I didn't know, is this car going to be so fast? But very first day when I made the first test with the car, already going out of the garage, going to pit lane, I was holding the steering. I said, what's going on here, you know? I take my hands off the steering. Everything was so stable, you know, and the going, of course, to very turn one, he turned in. I mean, it was just like a rocket. It was turning in the corner. But same time, the rear had incredible grip. So when the driver experiencing that feeling, what happens is automatically put your foot down. And normally when you go out of the pit lane, and if you don't have a good car, you can see the steering is moving a little bit all the time. You already have to fight on the pit lane. And when you go to turn one, if the car is not brilliant, it can still turn in quite nicely. Yeah. But what happens is you lose the back end of the car, so you cannot go to power. So this car in 98 was just incredible. So I knew straight away that we gonna win, and this could be the only year when I can win a world championship. So I had to maximize everything. So I had Aki Hintsa, I had the best management, I had a best team. You know, I was perfectly experienced of Formula One. So only problem was the David Coulthard. So we had this kind of year that one of us gonna be the number one, and think the best power what you're able to create in a season like that, when you have car where you can win and you're a competitive teammate, is just be consistent. Be consistent all the time.
Yeah.
Every free practice, every qualification, every race, just flat out keep your foot down, Just be consistent. And because the season is so tiring, so that driver who start a little bit losing performance or start making mistakes, then you start scoring more points than your teammate. And then you're going to be a winner in the end. So again, talking about Oscar or Lando and Oscar Lando, this is the time of the year when this huge pressure and these mistakes starting becoming part of your end of the season.
Well, for the first time, the last few races, we've seen Oscar not getting the same results or making some mistakes like in Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be doing that in the first race of the season, would he?
No.
It's the sign of the
and
pressure.
technical failures, things like that, they are still part of the journey. I think Lando had one technical issue and Oscar hasn't had yet.
What did you think of the pit stop moment where Lando had a bad pit stop and they asked Oscar to allow him through?
These are the team decisions, what they do. Sometimes they don't look right. Sometimes they don't, for the fans, they don't look right. But teams has their agreements and deals with the drivers. And like I had with David, it's painful. Well, not for me that time. But these like a team, when they go to Grand Prix or they go to Sunday race, they have thousands of different calculations and options. That what about if this happens? Or what about if this happens? So they have ready answer for all these, And what about if something happens in a pit stop like this? What we gonna do? Yeah. So they don't thinking about pitfalls. What shall we do now?
What was the
10 laps is gone already. You cannot do that.
What was the highest pressure moment for you in that 98 season?
There was many nerve-cracking situations. Absolutely. I mean, the pressure was just incredible. I think one of the, well, of course, because in my time in 98, the championship was decided in the last Grand Prix of the year. So you're fighting all the way through the year. You are in the lead. And then suddenly, in this case, the Michael Schumacher was getting closer with Ferrari with the points. And we're heading for the last Grand Prix where he was only, I think, 2 points behind or something.
Yeah.
And he's starting in the pole position in last Grand Prix, and I start in second. So the pressure is just like, okay, you can handle it. Calm down.
What were you saying to yourself on the grid for that final race of 98 with Michael in front of you?
Well, I knew that way, I'm going to make an incredible start. I knew that. So I knew that when the light goes off, I'm going to kick some ass. I knew I'm going to fly to the first corner. That's what I was focusing. But then Michael had a issue with the car because they didn't activate the first start. They canceled the first start because there was something happening back at the grid.
Just to make you even more nervous?
Exactly. And of course, then we come to the second start, and the team is telling me the radio, be careful with brakes, don't hit them too much. Temperatures, be careful with the clutch. Otherwise the temperatures goes too high. My water temperature was already 110, and I knew that if I had to wait too long time on start-finish line on the grid, it's going to go up to 130 and it's going to explode. But it was Michael's car which failed. So Michael's car overheated. He had a problem with the clutch or something. So the second start was also cancelled. what was amazing already when the first start was cancelled, McLaren mechanics, I mean, they are running flat out with the cooling systems, putting covers and all this. And I'm looking, Michael was in pole position, I'm looking, where is his mechanics? My mechanics are already taking care of cooling, everything. Nobody's helping him. So I said, this is fantastic. You know, because the heat is just enormous what's happening inside in a bodywork and everywhere. You know, you need to have immediately cooling. So in a second start, his car failed. But the pressure, you know, I think one of the, you know, this pressure is just incredible. So what can reduce your pressure, of course, is your management team and the team, McLaren team. They can give you the confidence. And I think, you know, when I came to like in a last Grand Prix in '98 in Suzuka, the Grand Prix when I won the World Championship, and before that weekend, McLaren just told me that we have upgraded this, we have done that, you will have more horsepower. You know, I think they lied to me. I think the car was exactly the same, just giving me more confidence.
And how did you feel as you crossed the line as world champion?
Now, of course, it was just emotionally, just unbelievable feeling.
Did you cry?
Yeah, of course. It was just, you know, all those years, the accidents included, and all those years of losing, and then able to finalize the year '98, crossing a line and to being not only the race winner but also world champion. It's just like, what? You know, I did it. You know, it's the incredible feeling, just a mega. You know, and I think that also what was a huge pressure on me was the Monaco Grand Prix in '98 also. That was incredible. Again, our car was flying. It was quick. And David is very good on street circuits. And I knew that Monaco, you need to get the pole position to able to win a race. If you start in P2, you already can say you nearly lost the race, you know. Able to get the pole position, that was okay. It was quite a hard work, but it was okay. But then when we started the race, I got the lead and David was behind me all the time. And I knew that way, if we're gonna go like this all the way to the end of the race, you know, it's gonna be crazy. You know, between these barriers in Monaco racetrack and going nearly a qualifying lap every lap, because if I slow down a little bit, David's gonna go for it. He's gonna overtake me. And he was very good on street tracks. You know, so I was pushing every corner flat out, and it was only 1 second different, maybe less. And I thought, there's no way I'm gonna do nearly 2 hours like this. Sooner or later I'm gonna hit the wall. You know, physically it's not possible.
Yeah.
You know. And David is coming like a robot behind all the time. And I don't know, was it lap 15? I come out of the tunnel, in Monaco track, coming out of the tunnel, coming to braking and look in the mirrors, and I see huge smoke coming out of David's car. And his engine broke. And I was like, yeah. No, I wasn't like that, but of course relief, because I knew that if he would have pushed me all the way to race, I would have get the heart attack.
What did David say to you after you won the title in '98?
No, David was happy, of course.
Yeah.
He was happy. I think David was happy the season is over, because it was super tough. So many million crazy things happened that year. David was genuinely happy about the success what we did. Because David is he really understands teamwork. You know, he understood that way. I would not win without him. I would not win without McLaren, the great partners and everybody. So he understood this is a teamwork. So he was happy. But when I won 99 second time, I don't think he was happy that time. In 99 year, the last Grand Prix, the world champion was decided in the last Grand Prix, again in Suzuka, and again I'm in at P2. But I just made a mega start and I was able to get the lead and winning a world championship. And David realized that, this is starting to get in his nerves, basically. Me winning second time, and I start feeling already quite exhausted. I said to David in '99 in Suzuka, I said to him after race, it's your turn now to win. In year 2000, you're gonna now win it. I cannot anymore. I said too much. The pressure is too much, and I think for us it was quite an incredible time with McLaren because we really did incredible amount of testing with the McLaren car. We did a lot of marketing work, we did a lot of testing and of course racing. So we were quite exhausted, both me and
mentally exhausted.
David, and mentally also. And quite a few other teams, they had test drivers doing a development for the tires because we did also development for the tires. So that means you do 3 race distances per day, just testing tires and going round and round. And you cannot just go round the lap just cruising. You have to maximize everything. So it's really exhausting. So it was tough, tough to do that. And we did express ourselves, of course, to Ron Dennis that, we need somebody to help and to test drive, And that way we are quite exhausted. But Ron just said, that's what you're paid for.
That was Ron's way, wasn't it? How did you find Ron Dennis as a leader?
I think he was a great leader. Absolutely mega organized. Was demanding a lot of success, a lot of results, and hard work from everybody. It was very, very hard personality.
In what respect?
I think it was just work. You don't look at the clock how many hours you work. Because if you work 1 hour less than others, they're going to go ahead of you. Innovations, doesn't matter what it is, the McLaren has to be the leader. It has to be the best in every aspect. It was great. I think it worked fine in those years with people in our generation. It was okay.
Yeah.
If somebody says, go to work, well, we went to work.
Could he manage like that in the modern era, do you think?
I feel that I think the life is different now. The generation is different. I think they require more time to talk, to explain.
Yeah.
You just cannot say to somebody, go to work. No, you have to really, you have to communicate with people differently. You have to explain to people differently. And I think that's one of the power also what McLaren has. Talking about Andreas or the Zach Brown, how they're able to do this great communication with the members of the McLaren. It's just fascinating. It's motivating. It's all about motivating people, making them to understanding what's going on, to feeling part of the journey, And I think it's great to see that. In time when I was racing McLaren, it's not. You are just part of the McLaren, but you need to be part of somebody. You need to be part of the success of the group of people, not with part of the McLaren. So
we can't talk about your success without talking about Michael Schumacher, because in so many ways, beating Michael Schumacher is what framed your career. I read a rumor that after you won in '98, he came to your motorhome and congratulated you on the world title. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, of course, after race, you know, it was a great fight in '98. Michael knew that way the car start of the year wasn't there, but he saw that way they're getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
So he knew there's going to be next year. So absolutely, after the Grand Prix in Suzuka, there used to be huge complex, the hotel in Suzuka. Then inside of this complex of the hotels, there was a little log houses, what they call log houses. I don't know why, but anyway, log houses. And inside those log houses were karaoke rooms.
Right.
Because Japan, they like to sing
love karaoke.
Karaoke, yeah. So of course, all the drivers and mechanics go in there to sing karaoke and have beers and have fun. You know, so I knew Michael already from childhood, since we were 13 years old from the karting. And when he has a chance to win, he won't give up. When he realizes that way victory is gone and it's been won fair and square, he's very straightforward and he's happy and congratulates you. And happy about it. But in a way that the game is not over yet.
How do you mean? How would he do that?
No, it's just, you know.
Do you remember what he said to you after the '98 win?
No, we went and look up and singing karaoke, you know. You know,
After a few beers.
Yeah, of course, everybody having fun, you know. And winning a world championship, oh my God, your head is so incredibly spinning, you cannot believe it.
So he would congratulate you on what you've done, but he would remind you that next year you'll be up against him again.
I knew that, you know, he's such a fighter, you know, and I knew that when we come out of that last Grand Prix and the long cabin, I knew that way he's not going home and start relaxing couple of months and then goes to the first Grand Prix. No, he goes back in the factory. He goes to Fiorano because Ferrari had a test track and they can drive there whatever they want. And I knew that was a huge advantage for them.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a test track where we can drive whenever we want. So they were testing there all the time, developing everything. And it really pissed me off. You know, we were able to go to Silverstone, start at 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock, suddenly lunchtime of 1 o'clock we continue and 5 o'clock is closed. And it's raining, you know. No, they're testing in sunny Fiorano. From morning, 8 o'clock they can start, they can stop at 8 o'clock in the evening, continue testing. And if the Michael gets tired or teammate gets tired, they put the test driver in the car, continue program, the gearboxes, the softwares, everything. So they were constantly able to do that. And I don't think it was, is it fair or not? It was just what it was. So I knew that Michael lost and they knew they weren't good enough. But they knew that way what they were doing in their program, they will get there.
And would he ever try mind games on you over a Grand Prix weekend?
Who?
Michael.
No, he tried, but it doesn't work. No, it just doesn't work. It doesn't make no difference.
Really? What sort of things would he try that and it wouldn't impact you?
No, I don't particularly remember some. You know,
because he was famous for psychologically trying to beat his opponents, right?
Yeah,
but it didn't work with you.
No, I think he tried a lot of different ways and this and that, and maybe it was a little bit his sense of humor, you know. But it didn't matter to me, you know. I was so confident with the McLaren team and with my management, with myself. He's not gonna, you know, change anything, you know. Let's wait when we put the crash helmet on, then we stop talking.
I saw a lovely quote. He said, Mika Häkkinen was the best opponent I ever had. 100% rivals on track, 100% respect off it.
Let's say this way, we had our moments in motor racing when I had a crash with him in Macau, example, with Formula 3 in 1990. I won the first heat, he was second. Those 2 heats, and those 2 heats are calculated. And overall time is the winner of total race. So I won the first heat. Michael was behind me a couple of seconds. He got the second heat, he got a lead. I was behind him, inside in a couple seconds. So I know I'm going to win. I just follow him to do all the way to end. And Macau is an unbelievable racetrack. It's like 7 kilometers straight track, racing with the F3 car. So last lap, he just made an incredibly silly mistake in a one high-speed corner, which gave me the opportunity to just easily overtake him. So easily I'm coming behind him like that and planning to overtake, and he looks in the mirror and turns a little bit his steering. I touch his rear tire and I'm off. So I could go absolutely bananas and berserk about that. But I thought, what is going to change? It's going to change anything? It's not going to change nothing. Michael was very hard racing driver. He was, I think he had quite a few problems with many other drivers, with Damon Hill, Jack Villeneuve, David Coulthard. He was a very hard racer, sometimes not fair. And every time there was a huge discussions after and this and that. And I thought, I got to change this guy. I got to change his philosophy, his mentality, how he's racing. It doesn't matter how I talk to his management, his team, or for the media, for anybody. It's not going to change nothing. I just focus my own job. And I think that's where a lot of respect came. That way we didn't start verbally fighting publicly, blaming each other. And, we thought, let's fight on a track. Let's leave the bullshit out of this, I think that those were the things a little bit maybe what influenced his attitude towards me. And after the Macau incident, of course I understood that way what kind of philosophy he has in his racing.
Yeah.
So every time when we raced, we played little tricks, but we never did touch.
I think it's so interesting because I think what derailed a lot of drivers against Michael Schumacher was they were so concerned about what he was going to do, they stopped thinking about what they were going to do. And it sounds to me like you were so good at allowing him to be himself. You would do your thing and see who came out on top. Was he your greatest ever opponent, do you think?
Yeah, there was so many different drivers, incredible mega drivers, including Ayrton, of course. Fantastic drivers. Also from the lower categories, below the Formula One. And in the Formula One, if I looked over the total picture of Michael, in a car and outside of the car, he was just incredible racing driver. Great personality, how he was able to motivate the team to give the commitment of his life. He has his football sport, he had his family, he has motor racing, but it was very extreme, I was also flat out. But, I always thought a little bit that way, there's also life outside of the motor racing. Motor racing is not everything, even it's a great sport, of course, but it's not everything. But Michael was just giving everything,
Was there or is there one memory that you've got of him driving where you watched him do something behind the wheel of a car and just thought to yourself, wow, okay.
I followed him many times, studying his lines, why he's doing this, way he's using steering, understanding all this. But I think nothing too special. my opinion. I think I was a little bit better. But
Do you think you were a bit better than him?
oh, absolutely, of course. But he was physically very strong with the car.
Right.
Physically very strong. How he was able to use the tires and the suspension, the loading a car, using just physical power to drive the car, and then his talent included and how he was thinking, how to balance in a car. It was the car control what he had was amazing.
And we started this conversation talking about how your accident changed the way you saw the world. Did the accident that he had on the ski slopes back in 2013 change the way that you think about life as well?
Yeah, I remember that day. Again, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, all that hard work, all that success, like everything is in the right place, and it's time to now enjoy your life. Do things what you want to do. Go to business world or whatever. Tell your stories. Experiences what he has experienced, winning the world championship so many times, or do nothing. The whole world is open, or just be with the family. And then when I heard that happening, of course I was shocked when I heard it is a head injury. Being myself in a head injury in '95, I knew that way. Shit, if you stay with too long time without oxygen, that's definitely a bad thing. Of course, it depends how in skiing, what kind of crash helmet you have. It's not exactly a level of Formula One. So I knew that way if you hit your head, it is going to be bad. So it was just sad, of course, thinking about the family of Michael, all this time what is ahead of you. Like I said, the motor racing and this racing career is a very short time of your life. First, when you're a young kid, you think about the school, things like takes forever, suddenly it's over. Then comes the next step, your work life, Motor racing, your racing career can be very short. So then the real life starts actually. Yeah. Then the real life starts. And Michael, just when his real life starts after motor racing, things like that happening. So you think like this is, you try to say yourself, this is not fair, what's happening. And again, what I have learned from the motor racing, because I did so much testing in different racetracks, and every time when I went out for the last run of the day, let's say there's a 4 days testing, start in the morning, finish late afternoon, early evening, and when you go out to the last run, you're completely finito, knackered, tired. The car also is quite worn out. So when you go in a corner up to the maximum, some reason you'll say, don't do that. It's a final run of the day. You are tired.
Yeah.
Something can happen. So if you lose the back end a little bit and you're tired, you cannot catch the rear end or something. So go a bit slower. So I think the skiing is also a sport that way. If you get tired or something, things can happen, So I was just shocked. I don't know what to say. I was just shocked. It's just terrifying, I think to think about children, it's absolutely terrifying, I don't know how they can, it's so tough to handle it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're kind of denied the opportunity to hear Michael talk in this kind of way that you're talking, reflecting on his career, which I think is also a great shame, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up, I need to talk to you about one of the greatest things that I've ever seen in my life on the television, which was your overtake of Michael Schumacher in Spa involving Riccardo Zonta. So all I really want to know from you is how how much did you plan or think about what was about to happen? Or did it happen in such a split-second moment that it was kind of an instinctive thing from you to use Zonta as the kind of the shield, if you like?
Yeah, it was it was quite a... So how the whole race started beginning, I got the lead from the beginning of the race. The track was... There was just a dry racing line and all the rest was a bit wet. Slick tires, Spa racetrack, beautiful track, coming like the fifth last corner or something and turning in nicely, a little bit careful because I knew I'm leading race. And in the exit, I touched the curb, this red and white curb, a little bit too much with the rear tire. And my car starts spinning off the track on a grass, but luckily not hitting a wall. Engine is running, and I can see Michael smiling in his face, going past, and that's it, Back to first gear, going back to the track. And the distance for Michael was quite, I don't know how many seconds, but it was quite a lot. So I knew I have a fast car. I knew I could catch him. So I just went for it, start taking risks a little bit every corner, like in a qualifying lap, just going for it and going. And I knew that I gonna catch him very towards end of the race. So I knew it's gonna be 1 hour flat out going, try to catch him. And we had a different settings in the car because the track condition was what it was.
Yeah.
A little bit wet and dry. Michael decided to take a tiny bit higher downforce. Why higher downforce? Because the circuit was a bit slippery. So the higher downforce gives you a little bit better grip in all the twisty parts of the track. And I decided to have a little bit lower downforce. That way I'm very fast on a straight line because I knew the track will dry up towards the end. And of course the track started drying up towards the end and I started catching Michael on a straight line like crazy. But because he was so quick in a twisty part, I have no chance to overtake him. I have only chance to overtake him after the corner called Rouge, which is really incredible corner in that track in Spa. It's like a really deep hill, and then you're coming to the long straight. Remember the name of the straight, what it was?
Kimmel.
Exactly. So that's straight. It's a really long straight. And again, I have a low downforce. Michael has a little bit higher downforce. So I can just keep his foot down, catch him like crazy. I thought this is going to be easy to overtake him. Every time I tried to overtake, he put me on the grass. And I had like 300 kilometers per hour. I tried that about maybe 3 times. Every time he was doing that, I said, this is nuts. This is not fair. This is dangerous. I'm going 300 kilometers per hour. If I touch him in the rear tire, I'm going to fly in the air. Or we're going to go both off. So less and less laps to go. And I thought, I need to win, God damn it. I had to overtake this guy. So it's Rouge corner. It is deep uphill. It's in a qualification. You have fresh tires, new tires. You have a low fuel in a car. So in a qualification, you can go just flat out, full gas through that corner. And it is just incredible G-forces and feeling when you go through that corner. But normally you cannot do that in a race. So I thought myself that way, if I gonna need to overtake him, I have to do it like in a qualification. And of course the tires are worn out. The whole car was just tired. So I went through the Rouge, keep your foot down, and I felt every part of the car was just like ready to explode. So when I came top of the Rouge, I was like relieved that I managed to go through. So then I had such a mega speed. I started catching Michael, but then suddenly I saw distance. I saw this Brazilian driver, Ricardo Zonta. And he had a technical problem or something. And normally, if you have a technical problem, you drive a little bit on the right-hand side of the track or on the left-hand side of the track. But this guy was driving on the middle of the track. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is opportunity. The problem was because I was catching Michael so quickly that if the Michael will see which side I will overtake Ricardo Zonta, he will come in front of me. So I had to wait longest. I was counting all the time, Michael, if you don't move soon, we're going to crash or something. So he decided to go on the left-hand side. And why on the left-hand side? Because the track was completely dry that side, and the next corner turns right. So logical to go on the left. So of course, I'm going to go from the right-hand side. And the track was a bit wet. So I really had to come aggressive towards the Michael to get on dry line. So I managed to overtake him. And I tell you what, I was fantastic to see the Ferrari in my mirrors, I tell you. I would big smile in my face. And it was a great overtaking, I have to say myself.
Was it your greatest ever?
Oh, definitely greatest ever overtaking. And I'm sure the Ricardo Sonda, I'm sure he has to, after the race, to change his underpants, I tell you. Definitely.
So many people need to be dragged away from the thing that they love, right? But you didn't. You made the decision to walk away from Formula One when you still had speed and you still had the ability to win races and dominate the sport. Why did you make the decision to walk away when you did?
Well, it's never an easy decision, of course, to decide to retire from the sport what you've been doing all your life. Since 5-6 years old, you've been doing motor racing. And then you're 33 years old, and then you decided, okay, it's over, finito. The reason for that was that, again, losing for 7 years, it hurts. Having a big accident when you crack your skull, it hurts. Understanding that way, the health is the most important what human can have. And then comes the point that why did I go to Formula One? What I wanted to achieve. I wanted to achieve the World Championship, the winning a World Championship. So I did it, and I did it twice. So then comes the winning in 99, and then comes the year 2000. Quite a few technical issues with the car. Suspension failures, hitting a wall, tasting of blood in the mouth, has to go to hospital to check out. 2001, little bit similar things happening again. You start thinking like, okay, Mika, you came to Formula One to get your goal of winning a World Championship. Am I pushing your luck bit? I'm pushing my luck bit too much now. Yeah. Because I thought if I'm going to have a big accident, maybe I don't come back anymore. So I thought there's much more in a life what you can do and enjoy your life. This is not everything. So you got your goal, you got your result, get out of here. So I decided to do that. It was a hard decision, of course, because we could have still a great future with McLaren together.
Did they try and convince you to carry on? Did Ron want you to carry on?
Of course, they don't. Of course, in all the aspects. We had made a great relation with all the team members, with the partners, with the marketing programs, the racing developments. All these was important factors. But once you start thinking about I want to retire, it's better to retire.
It's one thing thinking about it while you're still racing. It's another thing when you stop racing and suddenly you don't have your purpose anymore, which is the thing that's been your purpose since you were a small boy. Did you struggle with that after racing? Were there any mental health challenges or a lack of a sense of purpose after you stopped racing?
It's very, very tough. It's not easy, The time when you decide I'm going to retire, oh yes, I can chill out, But it's really tough. Motor racing is a teamwork. It is challenging constantly yourself to be better and better racing driver. All the physical efforts what you have to do, the psychological efforts are suddenly not there.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It's not easy. You need to have right people who you are working with, communicating with. So it takes time, And I think maybe it's silly to say, but in life we have time. You know, I was very fortunate situation achieving what I did in Formula One, and that gave me the opportunity to look what I'm gonna do now with the rest of my life. I have, of course, many things, opportunities and businesses, but businesses are something that you need to have a good team. It just doesn't happen like this. Your fame, your money, all this, there's a lot of people who wants to take that away, you know. So you need to be very careful how you guiding your life and who advising your life for the future. And it takes time, but it's okay. I'm a happy bunny now, you know, so.
And how long would you say you were searching for, or you were struggling for after you retired?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
That's a difficult one, you know. I don't know how many, but it can take years. It can take years, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that we are depressed or something. Yeah. You know, the sport is the biggest element. Hints of performance, again, you can always keep your performance, your fitness in a level. That way you stay healthy in your mind. So there's many different ways. But business is a fascinating aspect these days, what I'm motivated a lot, the teamwork, be a brand ambassador for McLaren, be a brand ambassador for Formula One, meeting incredible people, and to be part of the business and finding great innovations. Yeah. I think the world is now ready for a lot of different things.
I love it. And look, we've spoken about, you know, drivers who you lost in your career, a driver in the shape of Michael who is still with us, but, you know, sadly isn't the man that he once was. I think for you to understand that your happiness and your health are the two most important barometers to live by is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And I've loved delving into these amazing moments in your career. Final question. After everything you've done, the highs, the lows, the challenges, the setbacks, the successes, if you were to describe high performance in a sentence, what do you believe high performance is?
It's a science, high performance. It's a science. And I've been very fortunate to be part of that journey when Formula One started bringing the science for the human high performance. Now it's incredible how the drivers can reach this performance, high performance traveling around the world. You know, I think the science is the only way what can generate and the teamwork and motivation.
Very good. Mika, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to talk to you, man.
Really good to talk
Cheers.
That was great. That was so interesting. Thank you very much for giving us so much.
Thank you.